Tom Clawson takes on Chuck Tomney here for the right to advance. Not to next week's show, but the week after. And continue to move up the ladder in search of the $5,000 first prize here in the 1990 Masters tournament. See Tom Clauson do that a lot. Had 16.25 in yesterday's qualifying.
Was there that much spread between first and second, between Bill Honeycutt?
Yep.
Wow. Bill bowled well, and that just shows you how well to spread the field by 60 pins. I think
Tommy starts quickly.
A little higher scoring this game, Mike.
Yep.
Chuck ought to feel fortunate to still be around.
He asked us during the commercial break if that's what we wanted to keep things close, and we said, well, is that what you want? I don't know if your heart will take much more of that.
That'll be just what he needed to get him going here for a couple games.
He's been off the head pin to that left side by just a little bit.
Quite a few times for Chuck anyway. I mean, he beats on that front one probably 92% of the time, I'd say, over the stretch of the season.
Nice shot.
Okay, not exactly where Chuck wanted the ball, but the results are right. And
both bowlers open up quickly. Spares in the first.
If you see a bowler waiting once in a while and you wonder why he's not actually jumping up ready to throw the ball, we tend to wait for our second ball to start back before we throw the first one, because if it's not around, then you have to wait.
Hey, how about that?
You won't have to wait for the second one this time as he strikes kicking out the number 10, but it's so many times we'll throw our first ball and the second one's not there, and it really breaks your rhythm to wonder how long you're going to have to wait for it to get back. And when you're bowling one person on a lane in a head-to-head match like this, the machine's really not set up to send them back all that quickly, and ooh, look out. It's not going to be long enough.
Tom Clauson out of Willimantic, Connecticut. He's a model maker machinist. Tom's been bowling well lately. He's got a mark. So both bowlers mark in the first two frames. And as Joe mentioned, you can look for a little bit higher score this game than the last one.
Tom Clauson with the high game of 257 and a high set of 599. Big numbers.
Now you see one of the obstacles to a lot of the bowlers, that 7-8 combination left standing.
I tell you, Mike, in a good scoring house, as Fairlane's Westview obviously is, that's going to happen. It's the quick pin action, and the pin comes off the wall. If we could slow it down and you could see it, and it drives the 4 or the 6, depending what side the split's on, right between them, and the pin keeps going, and on its way back, it's usually in front. So it's a quick split, and most houses, that's called the house special. No matter where you're at, that's called the house special, and it's just a part of this game. It's going to happen to you, and there's really not a lot you can do about it.
That's something new I learned. I thought the house special was up at the snack bar there. It's,
they would like it to be. Right, kicked another pin out.
Yeah. Chuck's been pretty fortunate with that the pin action, taking a pin out after the ball's already left the deck.
Yes, he actually won the last game with it. As he had the 7-10 in the 9th frame and kicked out the 10, then of course made the 7 for a spare.
All right, took advantage of it. Adds another mark to his count. It's 3 in a row for Chuck Tomney.
There you see it. 3-pin lead plus this ball for Chuck Tomney. There you see the 9-10.
That's the other side of the house special. Tom Clawson will step in. Tom opened up. Spares in the first and second, open in the third.
He'd like to put a couple marks together here, Mike, as he's fallen 11 pins behind. Bowling the fourth frame with 47 in the third. Chuck Tomney 68 through 4 frames.
I think you asked the question, Joe, who's going to be on the show next week, and lineup is one with some pretty good bowlers on it.
I would say we have Eddie Darling, Dale Guess, Bob Prando, and Hank Howard.
Of course, Hank is a three-time winner on the Pro Tour, a member of the Hall of Fame, and certainly been around the game a long time.
Of course, the winner of this game will be back in a few weeks to bowl the winner of next week's show
as well.
Our format, as far as on TV, is almost impossible to explain how we come to the lineup of the bowlers, but it's done to make it possible for the
lower seeded bowlers to make it to
who won
the
their
top.
division. Yep. It gives them a little better shot. They do not actually, the 13th bowler, seeded bowler, does not have to win 12 games to win this Pro Tour.
Right.
As we did some
in the
time
past,
back.
sure.
Yes,
yep.
in the past, you'd actually have to win 12 games to go from the 13th, and I think we've cut it down to probably, 6 games.
Yeah, I believe somewhere in that area as Tom Clauson comes up with the 7. So after marks in the first 2 frames, Tom has been open 3 straight here. Now here's Chuck Tomney.
Chuck sees a big opening here as Tom Clauson had some problems over the last 3 frames, and with Chuck bowling 2 frames here, frames number 5 and 6, if he can mark in both of them, he can open up a considerable lead. And I do not believe he's going to mark in this frame, as all the pins he tripped got even with him right there. The 7, 9, and 10, and you'd be very fortunate to get 9 out of this.
That's the house special times 2 right there.
The name for that we can't repeat. It's not a house special.
Yeah, Chuck will just try to grab some pins here.
I call that a practice frame, because you automatically get 2 more balls, and you can throw at anything you want.
Well, he practiced to the right.
Interesting to see what Chuck shoots. He always shoots the right side. Well, of course, he had 2 pins in the right corner, so if you made a mistake, you can still hit one. 67 to 76, and it actually got a little closer for Tom Clauson rather than Chuck increasing a lead. Mike, they're being awful nasty here at Westview. They're cooking popcorn. You smell the popcorn cooking?
Well, I think that's the whole point, isn't it? If you see the crowd disappearing, you'll know that that's where they're off to grab. Certainly way around noontime, which we are during the course of our taping, that we'll get people over to the snack bar. Heck of a marketing ploy there.
Yeah, pretty effective.
So Chuck,
guy going through the stands there with a tray, you know.
We'll look to finish up there, and he does with a mark. After being open for a couple of frames, puts his 4th mark on the board, 3rd spare. And Tommy Clauson will step in looking to get back in this match. He needs a mark of his own here. Although he's been pretty fortunate, Chuck really hasn't taken advantage of the situation. It's like Tom's aiming the ball a little bit here.
I really think both bowlers are, Mike. Chuck's just not as fluid as, tough. He's had 2 tough breaks on difficult spares, but he just hasn't been able to trip the pins out, which tells you that he's doing something a little different than yesterday. And you hate to keep relating to it, but generally because of the cameras and the lighting and just the adrenaline flowing, it's caused by speed. Just tend to overthrow the ball under these conditions. And all of the games have stayed in reach. Of course, Danny won 191 to 134 his first game. As you see, Tommy click a pin out.
Yep.
But it didn't happen until later in the game.
Well, now he's got to take advantage of this. He's got the 7 pin for a spare break, and he's got to put the mark up on the board. Oh, right in the money.
Bullseye. Big spare for Tom Clawson, frame number 7. There you see 87 plus, 86 plus, a frame earlier for Chuck Tomney as he's bowling frame number 7. Counting on the mark in frame 6. Chuck's he's just sort of struggled along and made some marks, but hasn't been an explosive, impressive
really hasn't
type
been
game
dominant,
as he's capable of doing.
Ooh.
There we see the 9-10 once again. One too many times as far as Chuck's concerned. Had the 7-9-10 the last time on this lane, so could say it's getting better, but 17-pin lead with that 8 count.
Whoa, what a try.
I would have made the 7-10.
Yep.
That would have made the 7-9. 104 after 7 frames for Chuck Tomney. There you see 87 plus for Tom Clawson in the 8th frame. Chuck Tomney trying to get it started here again.
I don't see Chuck can get it going here. He's put marks back to back in the first 3 frames and hasn't done that since.
Whoa, right, gone.
Very
tilter.
hesitant, but finally went over.
Certainly was fighting back, wasn't it?
Pretty amazing how stable those pins really are. Sometimes they take quite a hit to stand up. Oh, look at that one.
Wow. Had the 5-6-10 momentarily.
And then something came through and
That's
cleaned everything out.
Best way to make it.
Well,
7-pin lead.
both bowlers put
For
strikes
Chuck.
up on the board in the 8th. Once again, we have a close match heading into the last couple of frames. Now, Tom Clawson has put himself in this position by bowling first. He'll finish up in the 9th frame. Chuck will get up and bowl 9 and 10. And another one. Oh, gee.
Well, there's the weapon.
Chuck
The
took a
double.
deep breath after that one.
Well, he moved a lot of pins around, Mike, on both of those strikes. I mean, it was not a matter of, and this is what makes the guy that's shooting the scores that these men have shot capable of doing it. Their pocket's big. You know, it's easy to throw, we all throw the blow-off strike, 10 pins in the pit. But that's a small pocket. You need to expand that pocket so that you can throw it between the 2 and 3. Now you can freewheel, and things are going to happen like happened to Tom, where you catch the doubleheader both sides. He used the right side of the head pin light to catch the first strike, and the left side tight and caught the next one, or the right side tight, I'm sorry, and kicked out the 2-4 for the doubleheader. So it's a live ball more than the accuracy, and there you see the accuracy as it hurts.
Yep.
The pin, and that's his nemesis, that little cluster in that corner, that area around the 6 and 9.
.132 for Chuck as he enters the 10th frame.
The game's slipping away from him, Mike, as we saw Tommy Clawson throw the doubleheader, and there you see it on the screen. 117 plus a doubleheader for Tom, and he's going to take a considerable lead if he keeps that first ball in the pocket. Chuck could use a double right here. 19 or 20 frame, put him in the 50s. I would say Clauson's going to probably be in the 60s at a minimum, so Chuck has his work cut out. Tough break there. He needs to make this shot. 2, 3, 6, and 10. Just couldn't get right idea. Just couldn't get a pin off the rubber.
Yeah. So Chuck will finish up here with this third ball. Will end up with a possible 142, and he's got it.
Not a bad game, but it's not going to be enough.
As you see how the scoring has gone so far, and Tom Clawson, who wanted to finish last, gets the opportunity. Of course, it helps because he strung 3 marks together, including a double in the last 3 frames. But
makes his frame a little easier to bowl. He just has to stay away from disaster. A little pull, but just get away with it. Broke 5 off the left side. He's 132 and 5. He needs a few more pins, Mike.
that should help.
They put him at 150.
Third ball coming up. 151 for Tom Clawson, and he wins it. He'll go on in the tournament to compete for that $5,000 first prize. You'll see him back in a couple of weeks, and we'll wrap things up here at Fairlanes Westview for this week right after this.
Hello, we'd like to clear up some misconceptions about duckpin bowling at Fairlanes. This is a duck. This is a duck pin. Note the absence of webbed feet. This is a flock of ducks. This is a flock of duck pins. The object of duck pins is to hurl 3 balls, bang, 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 and knock them all down. Exhilarating. The object of ducks is to, well, to be ducks. Now you may proceed to Fairlanes. We're quite sure you'll find duck pinning everything it's quacked up to be. Sorry.
Welcome back to Fairlanes Westview. We've got 4 new bowlers for you to watch next week when we return with Duckpin Magic. So for Joe Rainier, I'm Mike Sella. See you again next time, everybody.